Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Virgo, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of September. I hope you are well. Oh, and happy birthday. Using the Tarot of the Abyss for you today. Sorry, I just can't have meditation with you, and not only can I not word properly, but can't see very well either. I'm sure that will pass, I'm sure. Let's have a look and see what's going on. I have 3 cards for Virgo, please. There's the first one. We have the Fool in your recent past. Current energy. We have the 9 of Cups. Wonderful. And one more card for Virgo. What's coming towards Virgo in September, please? Thank you. We have the Empress. Wow. We've got the Hierophant at the bottom of the deck, or as it's called in here, the Wise One, and I really like this depiction of the Hierophant. Followed by the 10 of Cups. Absolutely extraordinary. Let's get you some clarifiers and some meat on these bones. They're really quite extraordinary. Your birthday energies are really suiting you at the moment here, Virgo. Right, tell me about the Fool, please. What's the Fool here for Virgo? We have the 5 of Cups. And we have the Page of Cups. Tell me about the 9 of Cups, please. Thank you. We have the 6 of Pentacles. We have the 4 of Wands. Let's have a look at this Empress, please. Where's the Empress here? We've got the 7 of Wands. There's fucking cards flying everywhere except where I want them to. Let's have a look. Right, put these back in here. Jumping to the left, please. Tell me about the Empress. And the 3 of Cups. Got the Strength card at the bottom of the deck here. Card of Leo. Followed by the 8 of Pentacles. Well, would you look at that? So, we start off with the Fool in your recent past, and the Fool it's the beginning of a new cycle. Is what it is. And the major arcana runs from the Fool, which is numbered 0. So the infinite potential of life and existence and reality and everything, running up to 21. And that process is called the Fool's cycle. And so we go from there, we go to the World at the end, and then from there, from the World card, you start again at the Fool. Hopefully building on the back of the experiences and the lessons that you've learned in the previous cycles, however many. Shut the fucking window. And it can talk about jumping off into the unknown, and there's an aspect of that for you, Virgo, because life is very different now to how it was recently, and almost to the point where, well, like I said in the 6-month overviews, I think the biggest issue that you're going to have is accepting that the good things are here and they're here to stay. You know, because things have been so very bad. It's difficult to trust things when they look good, you know, because things get taken away, people get removed, and you're like, maybe I don't trust this, maybe I don't invest myself in it at all, and then it won't hurt when it leaves, you know, that sort of thing. But the Fool being here in and of itself does speak to a level of trust that is coming in you. It's a really important foundation to start any new cycle. And it's clarified here by this 5 of Cups and the Page of Cups. And I wonder if this new trust, this new start, this new cycle is coming because you are making your way out of that feeling of grief and loss. Now, you've been doing that for a while. I think, God, was it February or March? Might have been April, I don't know. All time is just collapsing in on itself for me at the moment. Certainly earlier this year, I did a reading for you where I said you were coming back online. But we know that the grieving process is not just one that turns off like that. It's a gradual process, and one is always affected by loss, even when they come to terms with it. But coming to terms with it and accepting it seems to be where you are now. Like, this is all about acceptance. It's about forgiveness and compassion of yourself, and that is very clearly the energy that you were in for a long time. Completely understandably so. But they say that time heals all wounds. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Because it feels like not exactly an idle platitude, but it gives this notion that the passing of time somehow dulls these feelings that we have. And my experience is that is not how that works. It's something that actually sits relatively close to the surface for me at all times. But what changed was my acceptance of it, you know? And it's very easy, I'm sure we can all bring to mind, an example of a person who has suffered some sort of loss and then never been the same again. Perhaps, blamed the world for the awful things that have befallen them, and they spend the rest of their days in misery. They are people who have not accepted, and it doesn't matter how many decades go past, they never will. And so time will not heal that wound, There's a consciousness in this. And it started slow at first, beginning of the year. But gradually, it seems to be becoming stronger, yeah? And that in turn seems to be instilling you with a trust that there is more for you to do, there is more for you to experience than where you are, where you were at that point when that very important thing left your life, be it personal, situational, or whatever it was. So we move into your current energy, and we have the Nine of Cups. This is sometimes called the wish card. It's about getting your wishes, but I always felt that was a kind of shit interpretation, just between you and I, right? It's so flat. I wished a thing and it happened. All right, great, that's manifestation. But we all know for Virgos that if you could have your deepest wish, it would be for things to go back to the way that they were. And so for me, this isn't a wish card, exactly. It is more a card of taking responsibility for your own emotional state, not like in that previous example that I just gave, as somebody who blames the world for their misfortune. Somebody going, yeah, this happened, and yeah, I didn't like it, and yeah, I would go back in a heartbeat. But it is what it is, and I am still here, and I still have things to do. And more than that, I will look for the small things that bring me joy. Yeah, this woman's just leaning over the cups and she's just smelling the flowers. How many of you have found simple pleasures mean so much now? Just the sound of the leaves rustling in the trees, or the smell of flowers, or just the sight of an animal bounding along somewhere. People in Tyne and Weir can't talk, they have to shout everything. And we have the Six of Pentacles, card that talks about bringing balance in. And I think that the balance for you is that state almost of compassionate detachment. There's not an over-investment in anything now, and it's a nuanced position, because it does not speak of building up walls. against people or new experiences. You know, like, I'm not going to invest in that because it's all going to go wrong. It's a different kind of level of detachment now. It's more like the rolling of the wheel, you know? It's like sometimes it goes up and sometimes it goes down, and the idea is to try and maintain that spot in the middle where you are none too affected by any of it, right? That at heart you still are what you are, yeah? It's very peaceful. All of this reading feels very, very peaceful, and that's why that noise out there was so jarring to me right there in that second, you know, because it's interrupting the peace that is flowing through this. Peace that has been hard won. But you are constructing something at the moment, Virgo, and I don't know if you're aware that you're doing it, but there's something being put together here, and I'm just trying to find the edges of it a little bit. I don't know if it's a case of you giving yourself permission to begin to feel joy again, or what. Like I said, this Nine of Cups is quite a muted interpretation of those small things that give us joy. And maybe it is in this moment that it is the small things that you will allow yourself to enjoy, because you are building up to starting to feel happiness in other ways. But keeping yourself balanced, keeping your equilibrium is tremendously important to you. And you might have good days and you might have bad days, but this equilibrium is terribly important. The Four of Wands is the creation of a new foundation. It's a new way of living. And it's part of what you are building. Yeah, thank you. Because I think that you still struggle from time to time. You know, you have those good days, you have those bad days, and you have a few meh days as well. But it seems like you're kind of peaceful with that. There's no casting yourself right back into the gates of hell and being like, shit, I'm going to be stuck here now. It's a card of insomnia and depression, this one. But it's come out with the Four of Swords. And it's this consciousness and conscientiousness about the way that you are approaching life that it seems to be really being spoken of here. Like, no one would pretend for a second that you don't have these moments, but you are now conscious and conscientious and aware enough that you can kind of breathe through them a little bit. Right? Bring the peace back. It's this constant, conscious process of bringing the peace back to you. And perhaps it's because of the desire to build something rather than building at this point. Because your energy does seem to be focused on keeping you on a level. Right? Just keep yourself plodding on, because things are improving. Every little bit of acceptance that comes from you to, you know, where you find yourself in the world now is helping you along with that. Got the Death card, bottom of the deck here. Like, things have changed, you have changed, everything is different. And now it seems to be a process of adaptation, but with all the right things at the front of your mind. And no kicking yourself when you have a bad day. No kicking yourself when you wake up in the middle of the night. Tell me about this. Knight of Swords. Ten of Pentacles. Yeah. And it's a funny thing, in the meditation for you, what I heard was that Virgos were kind of like sponges at the moment. You're very good at picking up at what's going on around you, but the difficulty for you is working out what is your grief and what is someone else's, or where it comes from an energetic pool that you aren't directly connected with but somehow subconsciously tap into. Because it seems like you're having to juggle a lot at the moment. Now all of this is really, really positive, but it's all really understated. It's really quite muted, and I feel that. That's why I felt so aggrieved at that noise out there, because I feel like your internal space is this constant place of just micro adjustments over and over again, and it's about the preservation of peace. And adjusting to the fact that you don't have everything that you want. Neither can you. That Ten of Pentacles in reverse, and yet there is the possibility, the potential for you to build more in the future once you get to a place where this conscious need to keep yourself on a level becomes a reflexive action. Like, you don't even need to think about it, it just happens, you know. When we come into September, we have the Empress. That's Taurus or Libra energy, and you know, Libra is the sign that comes directly after you, so it's interesting that she should have shown up here. But she speaks about abundance. She speaks of something being percolated, something brewing, something gestating its way into existence. And there's a very autumnal scene here. And the interesting thing is, when we usually see the Empress and she's sitting on a throne and she's sitting there and she looks like she's having a portrait taken, you know, it's like every fucking portrait you've ever seen of the Queen. You know, it's stiff and unnatural, and she's wearing this ridiculous fucking dress, you know. And you just know that she doesn't, like, you know, tramp about in Buckingham Palace wearing that. Or maybe she does. I mean, I think if I was the Queen, I'd probably tramp about like that. And then other days I would wear my grey trackies because I was the Queen. I'd do whatever I fucking like, right? What I really like about this Empress is that this seems to be more of a candid shot. She seems completely oblivious to the fact that she is observed. She's completely oblivious to everything that's going on around her. Actually, she's just engaged in a moment, and it's a moment that's putting a smile on her face. She is depicted as pregnant, but she looks joyful and peaceful at the same time. Even though the autumnal scene is always suggestive of loss. Anyway, you know, we're losing the light, we're losing the sunny days, the trees are losing their leaves. Even though there is loss all around her, she's still finding a point of focus, something that can put a smile on her face, even if just for a short time, for a short while. But I think that your understanding of abundance and what that is very, very different now. And I think that you're looking to fill your life with it. More than that, I think that you're like I've got a sense here that you're working on something, Virgo. Working on something new to bring into the world, whether this is, you know, a project or, you know, maybe a business idea for some of you. But it seems your focus is entirely within. But not, and that makes sense because Virgo is the hermit, right? But where the hermit is depicted as going within with a lantern, you know, and he's off on a journey, and it's going to be, you know, dark, and there's probably going to be spiders and stuff like that, you know. There's not that same sense with the Empress. Like, she's just... right at the start of the reading, so I couldn't see properly. It's almost like I was looking at it, but everything seemed a little bit like, not a little bit, very blurry and a little foggy. Like when you stare at something for a long time and you let your eyes unfocus. It was that kind of feeling. And that looks to me like that's what she's doing. She's looking at a dress there. She's kind of staring at it, and she's looking at what's in front of her, but she's not looking at what's in front of her at the same time. Because she's concentrating on something else. Now she's present in the moment because she's observing the dress and she's observing what's going on here. But it looks to me like there's a layer of something else on the top. I mean, got the Hermit card right there. Thank you. It's working on yourself. It's building yourself. That's what I can feel here, but building, Virgo. It isn't about necessarily a new project. Some of you may be involved in that, new project, new business, something along those lines. But more, it seems to be the active process of building yourself up slowly and carefully and in the right way, you know, with the same sort of attention to detail that we would absolutely associate with Virgo. And it's tentative, or at least it started tentative, but it feels like it's building into something very, very powerful now. Because no part of this is being left to chance, no part of this is being left behind. It's like every step, just a little bit at a time, checking all of the details, checking in with yourself. Is everything okay? It is. Let us proceed to the next level. You know, it's creating a really, really firm foundation for you. We've got the World card here under the Seven of Wands. There's the Fool again at the bottom of the deck. And we've got the Six of Swords and we've got the Queen of Pentacles here. It seems to me that you are engaged in truly deep work at the moment, Virgo. But I don't get a sense of you hiding away to do it. You're not isolating yourself to do it, in order to carry it out. We've got the Seven of Wands and the Three of Cups, and it could be that you might find groups a little intimidating this month, like it's just a little bit energetically too much for you. You're kind of seeking somewhat more of peace, more, you know, the one-to-one situations over the group. But it seems like there's something quite profound here in terms of the end of a cycle, right? We've had the Fool twice. We know that you're on a new path now, but this seems to be like a tying up of some loose ends. Perhaps this month, you know, as you've proceeded to a particular level, you see that there are things either side that actually need pulling in and dealing with, different perspectives on what you have experienced that we're just kind of trying to scuttle away, and you're like, no, come back here. I need to sit with you and see what you're about, because I can't move to the next level until you are dealt with. But for you, Virgo, it really does seem like the first month where I have seen this in you, that it is a concerted and conscious rebuilding. And a conscious and consistent maintenance of peace. And I don't see you being distracted by what's outside of you at all. You know, what's going on in the world, perhaps, what's going on with other people. It's like, you go, yeah, okay, acknowledge it. And it's like, but that isn't important. This is important. This work is important. I hope this makes sense to you, Virgo, because I feel like it's a little bit abstract and I feel like it's a little bit all over the shop. But we're going to go over to Vimeo now. I'm going to have a little deeper dive on this and see what's going on with you. So if you want to join me over there, feel free, of course. That'll be the first link in the description box. The second link is the 6-month overview for each of the signs. But although this is just a process that you're kind of plodding on with and you're doing, I wonder if you notice the bigger picture, because there is a bigger picture here, Virgo. And it's one of getting ready for something coming in. I feel that quite strongly. I think you're just doing what you're doing because it feels right to you to do that. But let's not get ahead of myself. Right, okay, I'm going to go over to Vimeo. If you're going to join me, that's cool. If not, that is also cool. Know that I love you all very, very much. And I will see you soon.